Venus weightlifting, Chinese weightlifting. Recently, we got a lot of DMs and comments from our fans asking about the shrug in Olympic weightlifting. So I decided to make another video explaining my opinions, and that is, you should never actively shrug in the lift. If you haven't watched our first video on this topic, please check it out. We will leave a link in the description box below. In this video, we will focus on a lifter's movement following the trip extension. At this phase of the lift, the goal should be bringing the barbell to as high as possible, because the higher the barbell is, the better chance a lifter can catch the bar to complete the lift. Same as a lot of other weightlifting coaches, shrug and elbows up was an older cue I have used for a long time in the past. This was until one day when I was training with Deng Wei, the famous Olympic Gold Medalist. He mentioned to me, "Do not shrug, or you cannot lift your elbows high in a snatch pull." That when I started to question the use of this cue. To begin, let us do a simple experiment. First, shrug your shoulders, then lift your elbows with your shoulders shrugged. See how much you can move your elbows. Then relax your shoulders, and you will realize there is more room for your elbows to be rotated upwardly. And when there is a barbell in your hands, this would transfer to higher bar position and a better chance to complete a lift. Let's break down the biomechanics to further understand this concept. There are two main reasons. When your scapula and the ribs are in their neutral position, that's when the scapulothoracic joint can function properly. The muscle attached between the scapula and the ribs are all very short. And when the shoulders are all shrugged up, the muscles will be in a stretched position, which will limit muscle engagement and movement. So, the cue of shrug and elbows up will lead to loss of stability and power leakage from your shoulder and the ribs. Secondly, in order to lift your elbows high, the scapula needs to complete upward rotation. This is referred to as scapulohumeral rhythm. But if the shoulders are pre-shrugged, there won't be enough space between the scapula and the ribs that allow for such rotation. And that's why you cannot lift your elbows while shrugging. So we now understand that the optimal movement during the pull phase of a snatch is upward shoulder rotation rather than just trying to elevate your shoulders, aka the snatch movement. From the perspective of a weightlifting coach, I have always found that when lifters, especially beginners, are given the shrug and elbows up cue, they tend to actively elevate their traps, which would lead to an awkward movement pattern, or worse, potential shoulder impingements. Instead, I have come to the realization that rotate elbows upwardly is a much better cue for all my clients. With this cue, they typically give me more natural and smoother movements, which would lead to a higher bar position and a straighter bar path. So why does this shrug and elbows up cue exist in the first place? There is an old Chinese saying, 能阴阳者，非阴阳所能. This means only focusing on the appearance of a matter does not allow you to be able to do it. By only looking at the weightlifting videos, you won't be able to understand the nature of the movement. So yes, we've all seen the lifter's shoulders moving upwardly, but is this means a lifter has to shrug actively, or it's just an appearance of shoulder upward rotation? If it's just appearance, should we need the shrug as a cue, as an instruction? In the current days and age of sport science, we have to understand the biomechanics behind each movement. And that is how we improve our techniques and reduce chances for injuries. And that's what we believe at Venus Weightlifting. There you go. That's why we think elbow rotation is much healthier and more useful cue than shrug and elbows up. I suggest you to give it a try, regardless if you are a lifter or a coach just like myself. We are not saying this is the only right way to teach weightlifting. This is just to explain our position and backing it up with science. We are always open to different opinions and friendly discussions. Leave us a comment. Tell us what works the best for you. Venus Weightlifting, Chinese Weightlifting. This is Gabby, and I'll see you next time.
How about the first one?
So the first one, shoulders up, elbows up. It's like I'm a robot, like I don't feel like I'm flexible because my shoulders are stuck. But the second one, like, I feel like I've got more room and I can grip wider, and it's, yeah, just better.